Is it true that while you are watching this video, there are still many things left to do? Assignments due in a few days that you haven't started, a monthly report approaching its deadline that you haven't begun working on, the date for cutting off utilities is approaching and you still haven't paid the bills, or there's a book you promised yourself to read since last month and you haven't touched a single page this month. At the beginning of the year, you set a series of goals, but as the year is almost over, there are still many things left unaccomplished. Often, we know there are very important tasks to complete, yet we prefer to choose less urgent tasks or highly entertaining activities to do first. For example, scrolling through Facebook, playing games, or watching movies, only to realize that several hours have passed and you haven't accomplished anything that day. It's only when deadlines loom close that we finally decide to work, even staying up late to catch up. And of course, the results are often not what we hoped for. I'm sure many of us have experienced this situation. Procrastination. Procrastination is not a disease, but it can be harder to overcome than any illness. Research shows that up to 25% of office workers waste time simply due to procrastination. What's concerning is that almost everyone thinks they belong to that 25%. Why do we procrastinate so much? How can we completely eliminate this habit so that our lives become more enjoyable, allowing more time for rest and leisure, while also completing our tasks effectively without the torment of procrastination? Today, I will combine insights from two books, The Willpower Instinct and End Procrastination Now, to share with you how to eradicate the habit of procrastination. Procrastination is essentially the habit of delaying important tasks. When we procrastinate, we often have a tendency to shift our focus to non-urgent and entertaining activities. But did you know that the underlying reason we completely lose control and indulge ourselves in distractions comes from our very genes? Our brains prefer to do things that provide immediate pleasure. Faced with two choices, doing important work for future benefits or enjoying immediate gratification, our brains tend to choose the latter. This is because with the second option, we have the chance to feel immediate joy, leading our brains to release dopamine, which encourages us to continue seeking instant pleasure. Historically, our ancestors lived primarily to hunt, gather food, fight, and flee for survival. The immediate satisfaction of eating was enough. What happened later was of little concern. Throughout evolution, this gene-seeking immediate pleasure has persisted, making modern humans slaves to dopamine. Nowadays, there are too many distractions that stimulate us, making it even harder to resist. Jules Payot, a French philosopher and psychologist, famously said that the life goal for most of us is to think as little as possible. It mentions that our brains consist of two parts: the elephant, representing emotions, and the rider, representing rational thought. The rider can control the elephant, but when the elephant wants to do something else, the small rider struggles to control the large elephant. Imagine you've promised yourself to wake up early to tackle a deadline, but in the morning, the alarm rings and your rational thought and emotions are at odds. When you hit the snooze button, it's the emotions that overpower your rational thought. Both the elephant and the rider are lazy unless they receive strong commands from you. They become accustomed to autopilot mode, meaning they follow established habits. Procrastination arises when we let ourselves follow this autopilot without wanting to change. Many people propose methods to overcome procrastination, such as setting goals, eliminating distractions, or changing to a quiet environment. These methods are effective, but most of us only aim to take immediate action against procrastination. In the long term, it will be hard to maintain because perhaps you don't truly understand how to control the emotional elephant and guide the rational rider within you. To completely eliminate procrastination, you need to address the root of the problem by recognizing your emotions and taking action. First, if you cannot recognize your state of procrastination, it will be hard to control the rational rider within you. The author of The Willpower Instinct provides a great method called the ABCDE model to help you clearly see your procrastination. A stands for activating event, meaning the event that occurs. B stands for beliefs, which refers to your perception of that event. C means consequences, which is the result. D means disputing irrational beliefs, which is about reassessing B, and E stands for effect, which is about improving them. For example, A could be that you have a report due in 3 days. B might be that you think, today is just the first day, I can do it tomorrow. C would be the result of only having 1 day to work on your report, causing it to not be up to standard. The enemy of procrastination will keep you stuck at C. You might feel very sad and blame yourself, or you might find ways to comfort yourself by saying, it's just 1 day. I've tried my best. However, self-blame only diminishes your confidence, and the excuse-making mentality will create bad habits for you. To break free, you must push yourself to D, which is reassessing. This doesn't mean saying, this is too hard, or this is too boring, I must do something else. Instead, you should reassess B and ask yourself why you are waiting until the second day to start. I remember a time in middle school when my academic performance was so poor that my parents were called to school. The reason for my poor grades was mainly that I always procrastinated. After school, I would play first and then study. When it was almost bedtime, I would pull out my books to study. Sometimes, I wouldn't finish in time and would copy notes from classmates the next morning. Meanwhile, my younger sister, who was only in 4th grade, would come home after school and want to play jump rope or dolls, but she insisted on finishing her homework first before playing. I asked her why she was so studious, and she replied, I don't love studying, it's just my duty. I must finish it before I can play. Indeed, why don't we complete our tasks first so we can fully enjoy our relaxation time? Reflecting on it, my sister's actions, even as a 4th grader, completely fit the ABCDE model. If a 4th grader can think like that and act accordingly, why can't you and I? The second aspect is about emotions. Don't let the emotional elephant overwhelm you. Become the rider. Ultimately, procrastination can be categorized into 3 cases. The first case is anxiety about not performing well, leading to inaction or telling yourself you must prepare better before acting. For example, if you are participating in a singing competition or speaking in public, the anxiety often stems from perfectionism, not the pursuit of perfection itself, but being overly concerned about what others think of you. You want to maintain a perfect image in the eyes of others, which makes you fear failure and procrastinate. But I must tell you a truth. There aren't many people paying attention to you in this world. Only you care about your performance and image. There's a saying, done is better than perfect. So start doing and complete your tasks. It's much better than being a perfectionist. The reality is, the more you strive for perfection, the worse the outcome tends to be. Therefore, we must control our feelings of anxiety and fear of failure and take immediate action. The second reason you procrastinate might be that the task is too difficult compared to your abilities, or it requires too much time and effort, making it hard to start. For instance, when creating content, facing a challenging task often leads to anxiety and stress. It's not that we don't want to do it, but we struggle to get started. However, it's said that all roads lead to Rome. Whatever you do, there are many paths to success and many methods to solve problems. It's just about whether you want to or not. Perhaps the most important thing that can help you overcome the emotional barriers of procrastination is motivation. When you procrastinate on difficult tasks, it's often because you lack motivation. Think about the significance of what you are doing for you before you can start taking action. Have you noticed that when you procrastinate until the last moment, when you can no longer refuse the task, you still manage to complete it? You may not find it as difficult as you thought. So give yourself more motivation and get started right away. The third case of procrastination occurs when the task is not engaging enough, leading to a lack of motivation to carry it out. For example, you know reading is beneficial but still haven't read, or you realize you are overweight but still haven't started exercising. When faced with this type of procrastination, our emotions are often indifferent and bored, leading to laziness. If you've seen how dopamine can be a dangerous temptation that lures our brains into seeking instant pleasure, it can also be incredibly appealing if you know how to harness it. For instance, if you initially dislike reading but enjoy listening to music or relaxing in a cafe, combine them. Music and an enjoyable environment will stimulate your brain to release more dopamine, making reading faster and more enjoyable. Combine activities that stimulate dopamine with tasks you find less interesting, and you might discover that what seemed tedious can actually be quite enjoyable. After recognizing your procrastination situation and understanding your emotions, the final step is to take action. I often tell my students that to succeed, you must clear your mind. Only when you correctly recognize your procrastination state and control your emotions can you take the right actions. Overcoming procrastination in the final step means completely removing distractions. Find a time when no one bothers you, turn off all notifications, and use tools like Pomodoro or Forest to help you focus. But if even these methods don't help you stay patient and you continue seeking distractions, you can try an effective method I've used. Say stop out loud. Just touching your phone prompts you to shout it out loud, acting as a command that keeps your emotional elephant in check. So these are the methods to completely eliminate procrastination. To eradicate the habit of procrastination, you must deeply understand yourself, control your emotions, and take immediate action. Give it a try. If you succeed, please comment below so we can discuss and improve together. I hope you will soon defeat procrastination and take control of your life.